Now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. Joining us from texags.com, it's Olin Buchanan. How you doing, Olin?
I'm doing very well, Bryan. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you, and hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving.
We did.
Great. All right, so Johnny Manziel, yesterday, Coach Sumlin lifted the gag order and allowed him to talk to the media. How'd you think he did?
Well, I think he did kind of like his, season started. He started off a little slow, had to get comfortable, but got into a groove and did very well. Had some really nice quotes, talked about how, he can remember playing NCAA video games and putting up big numbers, but never really thought of it translating into real life, and just that it's a surreal season. And he's just really excited and honored to be in the Heisman Trophy discussion.
Anything that you heard yesterday that you had not known?
No, I don't. We down here you hear so much about Johnny on a daily basis. I don't think there was anything that, I guess the only thing I heard was just, able to put a voice to everything. But he's, you hear so much. He's so popular, and he really is the main topic of conversation around here. So you hear, over the past 12 and 13 weeks, you hear so many things that, it's all pretty predictable. It's just nice to hear from his perspective.
Did it surprise you that they allowed him to talk now rather than wait till after the bowl game?
No, we had gotten some indication that it was coming, and then after a while, you just able to figure out that once the regular season was over, that something was probably going to be done. Plus, I think just with the Heisman Trophy candidacy building, that I think if you go back to, I guess it was 97. Michael Bishop at Kansas State never was allowed to speak to the media, and some people thought that hurt his Heisman candidacy. I don't know if he would have beaten Ricky Williams anyway, but there was a lot of talk that might have hurt his candidacy. And I think that Kevin Sumlin, even though I don't think that's the issue, I don't think that would have hurt his Johnny's Heisman candidacy. I think Kevin Sumlin didn't want to do anything that could even be seen as a negative or a slighter, or give anyone that might hold anything against Johnny a reason not to vote for him. And plus, I think Kevin just felt like he knows how big a deal this is, how rarely you have a guy that can win the Heisman Trophy, and I think he felt like Johnny's able to handle it all, so he just felt like the timing was good.
In your mind, what do you think of the chances that Manziel actually wins the Heisman?
Oh, I think he's going to win it. If you look at all the straw polls and things like that from ESPN, SI.com, HeismanPundit.com, which has been really, in the past, has been really accurate in predicting a winner. He's a leader in all of those surveys and polls. So I think it'll be an enormous upset if he doesn't win. And I know that there's a push for Manti Te'o and a defensive player, and that's definitely a possibility, I guess. But frankly, we're talking about a guy who's had a great season, but he still had 22 tackles in his last 4 games combined. And I think if you just watch all you have to do is watch a few videos of Johnny Manziel. He has 4,600 yards in total offense, which is better than Cam Newton and Tim Tebow had in their Heisman Trophy years. But it's beyond the numbers. It's beyond statistics. If you watch the manner and style and flair and just the big plays, the kid's his own human highlight reel. If you just watch the way he's put those numbers together and some of the things he does, I think it really should be a no-brainer. I've been a voter on the Heisman Trophy since 1993, and I was, and I know some might accuse me of being biased because I work for Texags. That's not the case. I just think that this is one of the, he's had one of the most spectacular seasons ever, and I think that, I'm more certain that he deserves the Heisman Trophy as I've been about, just about anybody.
I have to agree with you, and the only thing I could see possibly two factors that make me think that he might not win it. But I'm with you. I think that it would be a shocking upset if he doesn't win it. But there's two factors there. One, you got the old guard that just absolutely refuses to vote for a freshman, and then two, you have the Notre Dame factor, and that always seems to. I mean, at least from my generation, that was always going to get more weight than it ever should, but it existed, and that's the only thing I could possibly see as being some kind of an obstacle to him winning the Heisman.
Well, I agree with you. There is a reason why the only Heisman Trophy winner from a losing team came from Notre Dame. Notre Dame in a lot of instances does get some favoritism, but I really think that from everything I've seen, all the indicators are that as good as Vante Te'o's season is, and I saw Brian Kelly politicking for him, as he should as his coach, and saying if they don't give it to Te'o, then it should be just an offensive award. But I understand he's politicking for his guy. But all you have to do is just watch what Johnny Manziel has done, and let's face it, he's not done it against a weak schedule. I mean, he's put some of these big plays and big games together against in the SEC, which is widely recognized as not only the best conference but best defensive conference. So he's you just had to see the game he had against Alabama.
Well, that
nothing will.
I mean, that was his signature ball game against a team that may win the national championship.
Absolutely, and he's had big plays against Florida, Alabama, even LSU, which is a game where a lot of his detractors point to. Say he had 3 interceptions. They don't point out that on one of them the ball hit his receiver right in the chest, and ricocheted off, and another one the receiver ran the wrong route. And I really think the freshman thing may be an issue for some, but I think those voters that will hold that against him are in a vast minority. It was just a few years ago when a sophomore had never won it, and then 3 sophomores won it in a row. I think just the way college football is now, with so many players leaving early and so many kids coming out of high school more prepared because they play in similar offenses that they play in college, and the fact that he's a redshirt freshman shouldn't make it a surprise that he's this good. As a matter of fact, it was pointed out this week that Mark Ingram, when he won it as Alabama's running back, was actually younger than Johnny is now.
Wow, that's amazing. And the other thing that I find incredible about the whole thing is that this guy wasn't even a clear-cut favorite to start before the season started.
That's right. In the spring, spring football, Johnny had a tendency to take more chances than he should, to try to force things. And he turned the ball over a lot in spring football, and they just said, hey, you've got to learn to make better decisions. And until you do, Jamil Showers, a sophomore, was looked at as the number one guy. He went into August. I guess it was the starting job was his to lose going into August. But Manziel did everything he had to do in the off season to get better in that time between spring football, throughout the summer, and really started making smarter decisions, taking care of the ball. And really, that was the only issue. Once he showed that he could make smarter decisions and take care of the ball, his star power and his just athletic ability took over. And by the end of August, it was clear that he was definitely the guy that needed to be the starting quarterback.
Best guess right now as we shift gears, you have any idea where you guys are going bowling?
I think the best guess is maybe the Capital One Bowl. That's what I keep hearing. But let's just say if Georgia upsets Alabama in the SEC championship game and Alabama's there, I just don't see how the Capital One Bowl would pass up Alabama. Even though again, Johnny Manziel on a 10-2 A&M team that beat Alabama is quite a draw. Mm-hmm. From what I'm hearing right now, Capital One looks like the best bet. If that doesn't happen, then the Cotton Bowl is a possibility, even though the Cotton Bowl may feel like they have to take LSU. And in that case, the Aggies could slide all the way down to the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta. But right now, I'm thinking that it's going to be the Capital One Bowl in Orlando.
That's good stuff, and boy, that's a good bowl game too, no question. And they play a really good opponent. I thought I saw the projection if they go to the Capital One would be somebody like Michigan, right?
Right, and that'll put a lot of pressure on Texas A&M because the SEC teams have dominated the Big Ten teams in bowl games. It's something like 10-2 in the last 12. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's something along those lines. A&M as an SEC team would have a big standard to live up to.
All right. Hey, Olin, we really do appreciate you coming on. I thank you very much for coming on. Hope you have a great rest of the December and the holidays. I know you're looking forward to going to New York probably, or will you be going to New York?
I'm absolutely going to New York. I think I wonder if there's a lot of excitement for Johnny and Tyler since he was born there and lived there for a while. I mean, how many towns the size of Tyler can claim two native sons as Heisman Trophy winners? That's got to be exciting back home.
Listen, anybody that's an Aggie is excited, and yes, Tyler will absolutely claim him if he wins the Heisman Trophy. I guarantee you that. You know how that goes.
Yes, I do.
All right. Hey, Olin, thanks again for coming on. We appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you down the line.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.